Hello everyone and welcome back to Rebel Brick. Today, like I said in the last video, I was going to showcase the G.I. Joe battle platform that was done by Kre-o. I had to kind of dig it out a little bit. Unfortunately, I just don't have all the room to have everything on display, and I would love to have this one displayed right next to the Cobra Terror drone, but unfortunately I just don't have enough room on that shelf. It is a very small shelf, so I just have enough room for that. But to get into this, to kind of showcase all the rest of the G.I. Joe stuff that I do have, the only thing I don't have out here to show you besides the Terror drone is a Cobra Trouble Bubble, which is kind of hanging up and it's kind of tied up in some strings right now, so I'm going to leave that be. But to showcase what we do have here, we have the battle platform, which looks really nice. I think in some regards it could have almost been a little bit bigger, but for what it is, it's not bad, because I don't know if you guys ever remember the old original battle platform. They had a ramp that came down here, and you could actually put a small vehicle up onto here. So say, like, because the Ram motorcycle did come with the set, you could have actually have parked the Ram motorcycle on here and then driven it on the ramp going down. For a set that was really only shown, I think, once in the cartoon, and I don't know about in the comics because I really didn't read a lot of the comics. I have my best friend had read more of the comics than I ever did, so anytime that I was kind of missing something or whatever, he could usually fill it in because he read the comics and I just watched the cartoon. Loved the cartoon. That's probably the biggest reasons why I ever went into the Army. Silly me, I watched too many episodes of G.I. Joe. Alright, so as we look at it, we have our cannons, we have our missile launchers, we have Roadblock here. Actually, he's got a nice heavy cannon, or I would say it's probably, looking at how they kind of did this, it's probably supposed to be a Gatling gun, because Roadblock was a heavy gunner, and a phenomenal cook. So I've got Major Blood here, so I'm going to set Major Blood up on here on top, trying to navigate around in the old original one, because I actually have one of the plates because I had gotten it for my daughters when they were young and all that. This area was meant for your turret, your missile launcher. We had a vehicle bay here, and then up on top we actually had a spot for a helicopter to land on. Here on this one, really, I think the helicopter's supposed to kind of land on the side. It's all pretend play, so it's being actually run by the most powerful thing in the universe, and it's imagination. But we have our computer consoles in the back here, and we have a seat so somebody can sit there and they can observe everything that they're supposed to observe and operate maybe the missile launchers. And we have the spot where somebody can get in there. We have Duke that's on the Ram cycle, so he came with there, and then we also had this part as well. And I'm going to take this off before I start jostling, because there are some stuff underneath. We actually have a prison cell. So this has got Cobra Commander in here. So we have a nice look at him. So he's in there. He did come with a gun, and of course pretty much all the Kre-o guys had a block for them to stand on, which obviously says Kre-o, because they got to plug their name in there. But yeah, we have a little double prison cell that came with it. Whether you wanted to tuck it underneath or whatever you wanted to do, that's fine. I just keep mine off to the side because this has been kind of stored on a shelf somewhere else. I just kind of had it tucked this way or whatever because I just didn't have the room. And this was from another guard post set, which reminds me, seeing that set is sitting right here next to me. Here's the guard post set. So comes with a very dusty launcher, little computer console, It's got a weapons box in the back, so there are a couple pieces of stuff inside there, and it's just a simple block to go on top. Like I said, it's a little dusty, and of course it's got a little radio antenna, so that way they can call in and say somebody's breached a gate or whatever the case may be. And these are nicely done. I mean, the Fang, you know, we got the front cannon on here. These are supposed to be missiles, but they're using like a rifle, a red rifle, for the missiles. The landing gear is a little goofy. I think we could probably come up with some better landing gear out of Lego if we were to really do this in Lego and make it a little bit more proper. But you know, for a very, very cheap set, but this came with, I do remember this came with, that was pretty good. You know, when they were doing their Kre-o line, I think they had a lot better quality. As I'll show you, this was from a different set. This was Sergeant Slaughter and Destro, and the Destro's Iron Grenadiers. So that was a different box set, and this is nicely put together. He's got his missiles on here. They usually had different tabs for the missiles, so if you take the missiles off, you know, you look at that, it's got a tab on the side here to hold that on there, and it worked pretty good. I don't have any complaints about this. You know, nice spot for him to sit. He's got a computer control. Looks like he's got some driving. I don't know if that's going to be his radar or whatever's going on there. I think he actually had like a steering wheel or something. Mechanically though, you know, the wheels sit in here pretty good. That works pretty good as far as that goes. So I don't have a problem with this. We have, and I don't remember what all came on this set. We actually have the Wolverine. So as you can see, it's only one missile that actually locks in there, and then if you hit it, then it launches, you know, the two of them. And I don't remember, it's supposed to go up. This is supposed to raise up, but unfortunately it sticks quite well. So trying to get that back on there. Okay, so now we have that on there. So, you know, maybe that could have been beefed up a little bit more, but I think it works pretty good. We got a little chainsaw on there, so if they had to clear something out, and this would be a tow strap. So on the front of most Army vehicles, you actually have a spot where you would actually kind of link up two tow straps and you could tow somebody. So that's why we usually have connectors on the front, and that's another reason why we also have that, as well as hauling vehicles as well. So, but these were nicely done. And mechanically, they're nice. Everything sits in here nice. And I'll try and show you that. Hopefully I'm getting this at a good angle. So that worked out really well. I don't have any issues with those. This is not technically G.I. Joe. This is all done by Kre-o, but when they did their battleship, one of my brothers, he had gotten me this, and you know, it is an interesting setup. Instead of being based off of the old Huey Cobra, this is based off of the Apache. So yeah, it's going to be a different bird, but for G.I. Joe to sit here and say that I could use that for their sugars, I'm trying to remember what they call them. Now I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. You'll have to let me know in the comments if I don't remember it before the end of the video. I'm just drawing a blank. The dragonfly. I'm sorry, dragonfly. But yeah, and again, if we look inside here, remember I pointed that out in the last one. You know, in Lego it just goes forward and backwards for that antenna. This has got three spots. So that was kind of a different take. That worked out pretty well. So if I can find Wild Bill, I'll try and throw him in there. And I know I remember picking him up, so because they sold, just like Lego, the little individual packets and that, so I was able to pick him up, so that was kind of nice. They have a couple extra weapons in here, so that's kind of slick. Roadblock's not going to fall off when I flip this over. Alright, so as I flip this over, we actually have what would be our vehicle bay down here. Instead of having it up on top, it's down here. So we have a shovel, a hammer, a wrench. I think there's an axe, but you know, we have a couple bottles of oil and that, so that way they can service their vehicles down here. It works for pretend play and all that stuff. If you're seeing that you're on sand, that's fine, but to say that this is a battle platform that's supposed to go into the water, I just don't know how well that would work in that regard. Maybe if I don't think I'll ever tear this apart because it's a set. I think if I try to make one of my own, I might try to make one a little bit bigger, but unless we start doing like a D20 Modern, or I really prefer the D6 system, so if I could do a D6 Adventure as a G.I. Joe, maybe I might start doing that. Because I mean, obviously I have enough G.I. Joe vehicles that we could probably do G.I. Joe as a RPG. So these are all fairly nice. Now here's going to come the bad ones, and the reason why I call them bad, you know, we'll start off with our his tank. Building this, it just didn't quite feel like it's really taken a good look at what it is. And I know that I had kind of altered this a little bit. I used some of my spare parts to try and alter this to really make this work a little bit better. The wheels, you know, you look at the wheels, how bent in they all are. There's too much tension on here. The plastic is very cheap, so you can still find these on Amazon, and I don't know who's actually making them for GI or for Hasbro under the G.I. Joe license, but it is very cheaply made. So trying to put this together in that, I don't remember exactly what I had to do on this. I think this just kind of started crumbling apart very quickly, so I had to kind of beef that up. It was bad. Things didn't line up quite right how I wanted them to. If I remember correctly, I think the figures were a little bit. So here's the figure. So the figure looks a little bit more like our standard Lego, a little bit more bend in the arm. The paint job is so-so. I mean, he's got the officer mask because the officers had the red masks. As far as all that goes, it's all right, but I don't know. The legs are kind of done this way, so they change it so it's their own, and you know, yeah, I get it with trying to make sure that they don't have. But the hands, I mean, this one's deformed compared to this one to be able to hold like one of the rifles and all that, so it's just a lot lower quality. And to say that Hasbro was having this under their license, I think they should be ashamed of themselves. You know, I picked up a couple, and I only put a couple together. I didn't put them all together. I was like, I don't know if I really want to, because you know, you get a little disappointed when you're working on some of the stuff, and it just seems like you're fighting with it to get it together correctly. Once I've modified it to make it look a little bit better, I think it's okay-ish. It's not great. It'll work for a stand-in. This one really, this is supposed to be a Awe Striker, so it's supposed to be a small buggy, just enough room for two people. This thing is quite big. I mean, it's bigger than his tank. His tank should have enough room for 3 people in there, honestly, because there's enough times they show 2 people in here, but sometimes they only show 1, and of course 1 person on the top. In a traditional 1980s, you'd have a spot where you could have a figure on each side in the back sitting on there, you know, because obviously we didn't have a lot of concerns back then. This it's just bad. Look here. I mean, this is how it's supposed to be put together. I don't think I even had the other part there. So it's just, you know, missing parts. The way it's all clunky and really blocky and all that stuff. Just poorly done. Let me quick grab another a Lego vehicle. So this is what Lego has done, and this is like a racing dune buggy, which I'm gonna guess is kind of what this is going to be based off of. You know, this is smaller, more compact, and a lot more robust. I mean, I could take pieces off here maybe and have them sit sideways or something, or we could figure something out, and then maybe put some like a gun up on top or something. But you know, for what they had done, it just did not work out very well. Likewise, here's this one. So this, I believe, is supposed to be, I don't think that's supposed to be Snow Job. And I don't remember the figures that are supposed to be on here. This, I had to rework this completely, so I had to throw some Lego figures in there and make it be able to traverse around. The missiles, I mean, they sit on there, but they don't sit on very well. And again, this is so, it moves so much that's going to break in no time. So especially if you had kids and you're getting this, because like I said, you can still get this on Amazon right now. It's not going to be long lasting. You're going to have to try and figure out about what to replace the half track with out of Lego parts, and that's going to be kind of disappointing, especially if you have kids playing with this. So again, like I said, I think Hasbro should be very ashamed of what they're letting out under their license. It is kind of nice. We have a pickaxe, spare pew pew sitting there for whoever's driving and that, but yeah, it just really wasn't the best. I think with their Kre-o line, what they had done was pretty good. For a younger group still learning what they were doing, I think it worked out really well, but then they kind of just up and stopped, saying, yeah, I don't think it's going to be our cup of tea, and then they went on to the next one. And whoever they had contracted, I don't think should be contracted with anything else. Not at that poor quality. I mean, they weren't very expensive, I do get that, so maybe that's what they were going for, but the quality's not right on any regard. So if you are getting it for any kid, just beware. I look at myself as just a big kid, and I hate to see kids being able to play with or have something to be able to play with, even though I use them more as models, or even if I do it for a role-playing game, it's going to be more of a set piece for what we're doing. It's not that we're playing with them. You get a kid that's really trying to play with it and go zooms and flying around and all that stuff. Stuff starts breaking on them. That's not going to be very fun. So thank you for watching Rebel Brick today. I hope you have a good day, and keep bricking.